down a lot of it, the belah and one thing or other. Belah trees, I mean. It's edible scrub, and went back to work again on the opal mine. But anyhow, it came to the day when the war was finished. There's a woman not far away from where I'm sitting down, just across the street, Mrs. Cooper. She's only 100 yards away from here. When I got the job of managing lawn, they just came here from Corinda, a little town called Corinda. And they had no home. And when she heard that I got the managing job of lawn, she asked me for the job of looking after the house and cooking for me. And I said, my word, I said, you could have it. She said, we'll fix up for the food as we go along. So she stuck to me right through. At last finished, and she was with the owner for a while after he came back. But he wasn't here very long himself. He sold out to a man that's got it now, Bill Waterford. But the day that the war finished, I used to milk the cows myself because I had plenty of grass then. I finished milking after breakfast, you know, and I had me all saddled up, and we had 10,000 sheep in a sheep yard just away from Nebia down here, and Mrs. Cooper said to me that I was going to get on my horse to go out and give them a hand. We had nothing to do with the sheep, only they borrowed the yards to draft the sheep. They're going to draft them for different people that own the sheep. So I went out and to give them a hand too. But I was going to get on my horse when Mrs. Cooper said, "Don't go yet, Fred," he said, "because there's something important coming over the hill." So I said, "Very well." So I waited for a little while, and she came out, and well, you can tell them there's good news. The war is over. So I went out to the yard, and everybody was busy working away.
That's where the old road used to be, straight through to the... Yeah, the old road from Lightning Ridge to Lawn to the 3 Mile. Was the old mail road.
Well, Herb, we're standing on the position where the old German cutter was.
Yeah, Lorenz was his name. And he used to, well, more or less there was a lot of cutters. The old chaps come in behind him and they used to cut with that old peddling idea, you know, the footwork.
Yes.
But it was here for years. The different ones lived here, but, well, the houses here are all close together, what you can almost see at the moment where they've built in this last 10 or 12, 15 years, whatever.
Yes.
And the old post, of course, it's just down here past this old shack. That was where the post was, and then there was the moonshine place they used to call it, where they make the grog and all this, just past that.
Well, we'll go down and have a look at that in a moment. Can you tell us any more? Can you remember any more about this old German cutter? Did he have any signs up? Did he do anything
Yeah,
like
he had a big sign up here, Lorenz Opal Cutter. But he had the old time top with the belt underneath and a flat wheel on top.
Yes.
And he could cut for setting with that.
He could, yeah, that's very interesting.
Oh, what he could. He was a very good cutter.
Can't recall the name of any of the other cutters that was around
Well,
those days?
Yeah, I could tell you later on up here about where they've done most of the cutting up on the edge of the hill there
That's very good.
where the school was.
Yeah, it's very good.
And
And this area here, where we've got the camera now, it was all huts.
there was houses here right through, all down here and right out as far as you go. Well, this was the main part of it, the town through here, down towards...
This new brick building, of course, has only just been put up lately.
That's just been there, yeah. And this place over there's only been there 10 or 12 years. But
We're looking now down the main street, which used to be Nettleton's Flat. There's very little left today, and very few people who understand and know the history of this place. Herb Brown is one of these people who has yet a lot of knowledge of the past history. As we look down there now, we see mullock dumps, which have only been put there in the last few years. But once this was a thriving town, an area with a post office, a school, a boarding house, and many other facilities.
Well, right where I'm pointing now, that's where the old post office was.
Yes.
And that old wilga tree was almost at the back door. And it faced this way, and the veranda led out this way. But it was only a three-roomed old bark joint, but still it done the job. And since the Opal become a bit of a price, what they've done all this, come trying digging up looking for some plants or otherwise, you know, what they thought they might have planted in the old days. That's why this went on.
Yes, a lot of that's even been in the last 20 years.
Oh yes, since that really. But that's exactly where the old office was there, because there was none of this. It was all clean, just like where you're standing.
Can you remember what any of the buildings looked like that was around the post office?
Well, which I said, they were just, some of them was only made of bark and bits of iron, and others were just bagged, painted, whitewashed with this sandstone here and that.
Yes.
And that's all it was really, them days.
Have you got any idea, I know this is asking you on the spur of the moment and not giving you much chance to think, but roughly what year did it all close down?
Well, of course, I mean, they lived up here all well into the 50s, 60s, I think, since the last of the old fellas died and left here, see, and then other people come in and kept rebuilding places like these.
Yes. What I really meant, have you got any idea when the post office may have finished up and the school may have finished up?
Oh, no, I wouldn't have an idea at all, but the post office had gone in the... Well, I mean, they had their own post office here. Anyone that lived down here just put their letters in here and the mail picked them up, see, that
Yes.
really the right office was up in the town by then. That'd be in the 30s, and yeah, that'd be in the 30s. And of course, mail coming past here, the old coach, they'd pick any letters or parcels, whatever, and take it from here. It was really a bag here them days.
Yes.
But there was quite a lot of men working around here, of course, or living in here just as they are now.
As we look away down towards Waterfords now, what was the next most important building along that way?
Oh, well, there wasn't much that way, I don't think. There was more or less, you know, just the people that lived in and worked here.
Okay.
Well, this is somewhere around where the old Clay grog joint was, and I believe the person that had it, his name was Hawkins. And they sold a lot of grog here them days, but they were raided from different places. Angledale, there was police there, or Gadooga, or which. But they were raided a few times. It still carried on, but... And further up along the road there is where the boarding house was, further along here.
Can you remember the name of the people that run it at one stage, the Sly Grog shop?
Well, I just said it. What I know is the names were Hawkins.
Hawkins, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. And now, as you look around, there's absolutely nothing there.
That's it, yeah. Well, well, this is where George himself told me that where the Cowan family lived. And of course, he was only a boy. He went to school here, and he started to opal buy when he was only 15. He'd walk around with a pocket full of silver, and he'd come out on right, and he finished up one of the greatest judges of opal in the world, black opal.
How many years did he buy here for? Many years?
Oh, 30 or 40 years after. He used to go away and come back down to the city. He had a business in the city, and when he went flat in that, he come back and lived here and died here. Well, he just lived over here just before they took him away from over here when he died, just here about 100 yards over. And all that there. But
there's nothing left now to show that they ever lived here, is there?
no, only a bit of old rubbish where they've been dug out of these holes.
Yes, only the rubbish and nothing else.
That's all. Yeah. So to look at the place, you know, if it was all cleared, it'd house a lot of people. They tell me in the old days that there was 800 people working here on this 3 mile when it broke out, this lunatic hill up here.
800?
800 men working here, yeah. Well, there'd be a lot of families, wouldn't there?
Yes, so that would be probably 12 or 1,400 people living here.
That's true, yes. Well, that's what the old land said. There was 800 people, 800 men working in this hill up here. Of course, it's been flat too, I suppose, but...
And as we look out here in front of us everywhere, that was all huts.
Yes, huts, where all the families lived.
And now there's absolutely nothing.
Nothing, only scrub, a little bit of scrub.
One would never think a town ever existed there.
That's right. Well, this is the place where old Fred, when he died, he lived here just before he died, of course. But he was here for years and years.
Fred who? Bodell?
Fred Bodell, yeah.
Yes.
Well, he lived here for years, on and on his own, until he got crippled that way, that an old age, of course. And this is where he was when he finished up dying, old Fred Bodell. But there wasn't many about. There was a house here and one or two down there, but that's all.
They tell me that he was working in the district as a young boy before they even started to mine opal here. Is that true?
He told us, of course, and he come through here. Well, in 1902 or 3, he said he come through the ridge here.
Yeah, he was a man well in his 90s when he passed away.
Yeah, he was 96, wasn't he, or something like that, 96.
Yes.
But he reckons that he came to tell me, because I worked a lot when he was a shearer. I worked in the sheds with him a lot, and he used to tell me a lot of things about the old days here. And he said he was one of the first, even, of course, he could have been too, but anyway, he brought the Bruce family here in 1909 or 8. He picked them up in the Walgett they were making this way. And he brought them there. He was shearing out of his place there right on the railway line now at Walgett. And he picked all the Bruce families up with their drays and horses and brought them here.
They tell me he made a couple of very good strikes over the years. Do you know much about
Well,
them?
he got 2 big strikes up the Newt, John, which I know of. I knew where he camped up there. And he got a lot over even here, just behind us, and up here on the flat. He got over wherever he went. He was a lucky man, Fred, but He spent it, I suppose, like everyone else did, let it go.
Yeah.
And he broke a lot of oval up to in this hard country, which you couldn't help more or less. But he wasn't a bad old bloke to the town, you know. But he went away a lot, though. He went away shearing a lot, out into Queensland, and he'd turn up again. And this is where he finished up living. He built this whole hut. And, of course, he never died in it, but he died in Walgett, I think it was. Well, straight down in front of us where that bit of clear country is, I believe that's where the Kirkpatrick boarding house was, according to the Bruce boys. They lived down there further towards Waterford's, you know, where Waterford's living now. But they went to school over here on the point of the ridge, which I'll show you in a moment, and where the old horse puddlers were here. But,
Were there many people at the boarding house?
oh, it was more or less the boarding house was for the meals only, I'd think, because, you know, them old miners, they never had time to cook a meal for themselves, and she'd put on meals, about 1 6 a meal, and that's all it was them days. So they'd sooner go and have a meal than go out to their camp and cook one. Well, this is where the horse puddlers were in here. Well,
Can you explain how the horse puddlers worked to us? What worked and how they worked?
they just hooked them, they had a round, a circle, and a long stick across, and they had like a channel in them outside where they used to fill the dirt in and the water all went in there, and they used to have to stop the horse every now and again to let all the puddle out. Well, the long stick with spikes in it, dragging the dirt around. But they had a couple of, that was all right. They used to pull the water over here by a whip, you know, long stick and a pole, a long pole, and pull the water down up, she'd come and tip it straight into the puddler.
They must have had a dam there,
No water underneath, no dams.
out of the old mine.
Old mines, yeah, all along there it used to run.
Wonder what years, can you remember what years this
Well,
was?
that was even in the 30s. That was even in the 30s and 40s, I think right up the 40s. They had a horse puddler there, one or two. I think old Boodle reckoned that the water all used to run down in and run into the big pails down, and he blew them up with dynamite so they wouldn't use them. Well, that's true too, because I was down here just after, but that's where they were, the puddlers in there. Just alongside these horse puddlers here, well, there was only one there them days, but old Donald White got a stony according to old son Bruce, and he was a great mate of his. In fact, they worked together. And they tell me it was a big light stone as big as a cricket ball, just east, somewhere in here. Hardy Bruce, he used to tell me about it because he remembered everything because they lived just down there. And after that they got nothing else, only just the one stone. He did old Donald White.
One big stone.
Yeah, but back that way they got a bit oval. And up above here where this cut is.